efforts. And meanwhile, as the industrial era and urbanization kind of started kicking in more and more, the rural cultures, rural-based cultures in a lot of these places kind of fell to the wayside. And so the Scottish pipes became known as the bagpipe. But you've got these guys here, which were evolved from an earlier form of Irish pipe, kind of similar to the Scottish pipes. And they were literally killed out by the British. They killed all the pipers and destroyed every last one of their instruments back about 300 years ago. And there's not even a broken shard of one in existence that I'm aware of. It's kind of astounding. They were quite effective in their efforts. And this one was just evolving, and because it was a newfangled thing, it didn't have any political significance, so it ended up surviving to inherit the tradition. And it evolved. Basically, if you think about it, like a pipe organ is essentially a mechanized bagpipe. So the idea with the bag is that it enables you to get a constant sound, and it also enables you to connect more and more pipes to the same air source. So in this particular set, I've got 6 different pipes, each having their own reed. I've got the chanter, which has a double reed in it for the melody. A 2-octave scale there, which is unusual. Most bagpipes have only 1 octave. And this one you can overblow the reed, which is partly a function of the dry air, which you're now using bellows. So if you get up close to a Scottish bagpipe, they tend to be pretty darn loud. And not all mouth-blown bagpipes are, but it's a little difficult to get the reed to be balanced so delicately that you can get the 2nd octave. And also, this one has a leather pad on the leg that enables you to stop the sound. Normally the bag enables you to get a constant sound, but you can't stop it. So they developed a whole series of brace notes, little notes around the other notes to give you the impression of separate articulation and emphasis. But on this one, if you close your fingers down and close the bottom of this on this leather pad, you can stop the sound that way. You get staccato notes that way. There's a whole style variation between people who play mostly open or people who play more closed, and that's one of the distinctions in the different styles that people have. Joey and I would say I tend to play a mixture. Sometimes I play more open, sometimes more closed. Really depends on what I'm looking for in a particular tune. Joey tends to lean a little more in the direction of closed consistently than I would be. But Joey is particularly enamored with what might be considered older styles of playing, historically based technique and stylistic elements that were first became known through the early 78s and wax cylinders around the turn of the century. People like Patsy Toohey and Tom Ennis and other people like that, whereas my style is more based on Willie Clancy and Seamus Ennis, who were mid-20th century players, and also playing a lot with fiddle players around the New York area and Philadelphia, where I grew up, where there's one of the great exponents of that style is Brian Conway, who's here this weekend from New York. And actually his style is also based primarily on the playing of an earlier fiddle player from Sligo who became known through the early recordings in the 78 era and the 20s as well. But a lot of the New York players at the time when I was growing up in the 70s, there was just a lot of these people who took their style from the Sligo players, Michael Coleman and Paddy Cloran and Lada Byrne, and so we had people like Andy McGann, Patty Reynolds, who were really dominant at that time in New York City. So I ended up playing a lot with those people, and my style is somewhat influenced by what works with fiddle players and what I heard fiddle players doing as much as it is from piping. Anyway, I don't know whether that makes any sense to anybody, but there you have it. Play a little bit myself, and then I'll get Joey here to do something, and we'll do a little bit of playing together and see what happens. Are you pretty much in concert pitch?
I think because I've been coming up, as I come out here, it goes going sharp.
Don't say you got crazy. Video.
Okay.
Unless your video, they're going crazy.
Okay.
As long as you don't have a selfie stick making the camera about this close to us, then you'll be fine. Sounds great.
So, as I was mentioning earlier, every one of these pipes has its own reeds. There's 6 reeds in this set, 7 reeds in that one. And the reeds all sort of shift around with the weather, so we'll be tuning most likely here and there to try to keep on top of that one. My regulators are probably a foregone conclusion, but let's see if I can get them in the neighborhood of base.
Tim made this set of pipes himself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very first set, well, some of it I didn't make, most of it I did. This was the very first thing I ever made, and it has the original reed in it from 1975, so wow, it's still going strong.
They're not wet reeds, they're dry reeds. We're not breathing into it. So sometimes they find old sets in a case under a bed that's been there for 50 years, something like that, and you could get them out and they still go, you know?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
You're lucky to have your own set going, let alone
You're right.
from under the bed, but you know. Anyway, let's see what happens here. An old march. A lot of the oldest marches were in jig time, in 6/8 time, and this is one called March of the O'Sullivans. And the O'Sullivans were prominent around Kerry, and go from there into a Galway tune called Captain Jack Walsh, and then into Jimmy Neary's, who's a great fiddle player from Mayo or something. Oh, yeah. Excellent. So Jimmy moved to Chicago back in the 50s, I think. His wife Eleanor was a piano player who played melodies on the piano rather than accompaniment per se. And anyway, finished up with a tune called Behind the Haystack. Maybe you join me for that one.